welcome to Inside the Booth. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, yeah. It's us, Dreaming Tabitha and Dan the Law. And our guests already with us tonight. For sure. Got the Elm music.
That's
and,
right.
That's right, of course. Ready to rock and roll.
Feel like doing the head bob from was it Night of the Roxbury?
There you go. Feel it. How's everybody doing tonight on this dreary Tuesday? At least it's dreary where I'm at. On this dreary Tuesday.
Oh, it's dreary here too.
Dreary.
It's hot here in Texas.
It was
It's really hot
quite
here in Texas.
nice. It was actually quite nice here in New York.
Oh, so Dan's got it nice. PJ's
Oh,
got
well,
Shaded Beard, and then we've got it already.
First slip up, all right.
In Latin, those are the letters that start Shaded Beard. So
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. That's what it stands for. Okay, I got you.
That's exactly. And so we've got an interesting topic this evening. That's why we have our special guests tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, we're not experts either.
And the maker.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Maker.
Oh yeah, we've had the maker featured here before. Does a lot of woodworking and creative. Give us a wee spiel of what you do on your channel.
Well, occasionally, I do Star Wars props, and I'm kind of working on different things. Some of my more popular builds lately have been re-inspired holocrons. This one was the first one. This one is the first one that I've ever made, and I tried to make it look like copper. It does light up, but unfortunately the batteries are dead, so it's not going to light up.
Disappointing.
But I do have a couple of different ones that I've made. I'm sure that there's a link to the channel in the description below, so you can go ahead and check out some of the different things that I've made down there. And if you like what you see, think about subscribing and give me a thumbs up.
For sure.
There you go.
And for the first time ever on Inside the Booth, we have Shaded Beard. Just Shaded Beard.
Just Shaded Beard. He can call
Shaded
Shaded Beard. He's all about like beard care and beard maintenance, how to properly shade your beard.
And I do wear the glasses indoors sometimes.
Of course.
Well, when you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day, right?
There you go. It's the only way I rock.
He's never actually seen what the real world looks like. It's always through the lens.
Everything's always dark. Everything's dark.
Give us a little spiel of what you do on your channel over there.
Yeah,
or what you do on your corner of the internet.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Started out as Shaded Beard on TikTok, became a thing, got a little bit of a following going on, and now I do more of the nerdy fandom nostalgia thing. Talk about my favorite thing, Power Rangers. So
go Gadget Power Rangers.
Wrong show.
Oh, that was great.
It works.
But no, I've gained a little bit of a following. Obviously, it's a long story about how I came up with Shaded Beard, but yeah, I got a little bit of following. But the new project, if I can plug a little bit, is that me and another TikToker. If you go on TikTok, he is known at Sight Unseen. His name is Andrew Damon. Me and him are actually going to link up, and we're going to start a podcast at the end of the summer called Guardians of the Podcast. Yes, that's podcast twice. And we do have a YouTube already set up. We do have a TikTok already set up. We're just doing a bunch of ads and commercials and stuff to get people hype about it.
Trying to hype it up.
Yeah. So, but he's got some personal things. He just had a baby, so getting him a little bit adjusted. Yeah, getting him a little bit adjusted, and that's kind of delayed our release stuff. But that's going to be coming down.
Kids always get in the way.
Yeah, I tell you. Dogs, kids, cats, all the same for me.
All the above.
Never dogs.
But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Been going at the Shaded Beard thing for about 3 years now, but that's me in a nutshell.
Cool.
Sweet.
Excellent. Wow. So, Dan, what about you? What have you been doing lately?
Who is Dan? Who is Dan?
I don't know, building a house. Well, not really building a house, remodeling a house. Remodeling.
Nice.
Yeah, it's almost the same, right? Remodeling a house. Let's see here. Obviously doing this inside the booth thing.
Oh yeah, every Sunday and Tuesday at 9 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. That's right. Give us a like if you enjoy what you see here. Ready.
Oh yeah.
I just got back from Virginia today, feeling a little bit tired, but that's okay. I'm here. I'm ready to do this. We're talking.
She's taking one for the team.
Video always. Video games turned into movies. The best, the worst, the mediocre, and the eh.
I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous.
We're kind of, just talking about like maybe the top 3 that we think were successful. Maybe the top 3 we think they failed miserably at. Dan was saying that there were some that, movies that we've watched, we didn't even realize were video games. That's happened to me before.
Yeah,
for sure. Dan, what movie were you watching when you realized or were later on told this was a video game?
Well, I guess there was a couple, and I was told about it today because I looked it up. Video game movies.
Right.
Google.
Yeah, Googled it, and one
We're
was
well informed here.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. That one.
Great.
It really got me. I was like, oh, interesting. Alone in the Dark. I just thought that was a horror movie.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Game, and
I think I remember hearing about that. I think that was PlayStation 1, I think? Or Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, a while ago.
Yeah, it was a long while ago.
That was.
I mean, and there's
that was
quite
before
a
your
few of
time,
them.
Shaded Beard.
Yeah, there was quite a few of them.
I got called out.
I'm throwing shade. This is what it is. Just throwing
I'm
shade.
the one supposed to be throwing shade. Come on now. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Behave.
Phil says Dan's a real nerd because I use Google. Yes. Thanks, Phil.
Well,
That's
I
what
was
real
about to
nerds
say.
do, right?
Oh, PS2. Oh, okay.
PS2. Yeah, I was about to say I have engineer in my name, and I still Google everything on my job. So, yeah, it's okay.
Now, Dan's not really a gamer, so this should be an interesting.
I'm not.
It's gonna be an interesting conversation.
I think I stopped playing video games. I mean, really playing video games
After
Let him
what
talk.
console?
After
what console?
Joshua, don't get him so confused.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm like, after what? What are
Carry
we
the
talking
2
about?
over the 3
no.
minus the 1.
Yeah, I really stopped really playing video games back when Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 2 came out. That was it.
Man,
that was it for me. After
you stopped right at the prime, man. You stopped
I
at the prime.
I did play. Yeah, I know. I did play 64. I did play PlayStation 2, but then after that, things changed for me. I wanted to do more video stuff, not gaming stuff, and I had jobs. So I was like, I didn't have time to play video games.
Dan's like, I was a real man. I had to work.
He was on the verge of like the golden years of video games.
Well, that's true, and and I loved playing video games with my friends in high school. You get the 4 players, we're all sitting next to each other playing the games on the 64 and stuff, and hit each other every time because we're getting mad at each other. You son of a gun! You killed me! It's not the same today when everybody's on the internet. Who you gonna hit?
Yeah.
Who you yell at? You gotta punch holes in your wall and then just.
Well, you could. That's real. That's the real reason why Dan. That's the real reason Dan's redoing the house.
What they really do is they take the controllers and literally throw them at the TV.
Well, that probably happened with Wii. You remember when they introduced the movement of the controls. I remember my dad trying to play
that. That messed with me hardcore. That messed with me hardcore. I can only have enough brain cells to handle all that.
That was a rough console.
Yeah.
It was. I remember when my dad tried to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater with Joshua.
Yeah, that was.
He just kind of it just
No, he was playing on the Nintendo 64.
That's what it was. He was trying 64. My dad was before his time, really ahead of his time with video games because he was using the 64.
He
was trying to get him to jump.
So
how come he ain't jumping?
I was just gonna go ahead and go first.
Answer your question, Phil. Oh, I was just gonna answer Phil's question.
Yeah.
Yes, I have played Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation 2.
I have not.
But not. Have not.
Does Dan think that GTA is a real cop show?
Of course.
Hold on. But here's the thing, though. With GTA, people have really gotten creative on like Twitch and TikTok and different things of that nature, where they actually, I guess they're playing other people online, or they're playing the computer,
they are,
and they actually simulate as if they're a cop or as if they're some sort of public servant or something of that nature, and they will actually pull people over. They'll arrest them. I mean, they take it seriously. They're calling out call signs and different things of that. I mean, it's great. I'll just sit there for 50 minutes to an hour just trying to figure out how the heck do you get so invested in the game that you treat it like real life, and you got the call signs, you're a cop. I mean,
especially when we go to video games to go away
escape reality.
Escape reality.
Exactly.
So
you got the farming game too.
Right. So speaking of Grand Theft Auto, who's played the very first one? No, it was like a 2D.
It was a top-down one. Yeah,
top down, and they were like little squares, and then your guy was like a little round dot. I played that.
Really?
That was fun. That was a fun
Dan's
one.
OG?
Yep.
Yeah, that was before it got like the mature rating, if I remember right.
Probably.
Yeah. And then of course I did play some of the newer ones on the PlayStation 2, but they weren't as cool as the very first one that I.
They never really are. They never really are.
But yeah.
Well, I guess kind of going into then our top games that we think made it as good movies. Okay, I'm not a die-hard person when it comes to several of the different franchises, but I will say that, and I kind of list this as like two different movies, but it's from the same game, but different time periods, is that I honestly, the first movies for the Tomb Raider franchise, I really enjoyed. Now, so I love how all you men at the same time literally went like this. That was perfect. That was perfect. But it's
2023. I got to be inclusive. I can't get canceled. I haven't even started yet.
Perfect head top right there. So, when now we know that the first Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie was kind of over the top, but I actually thought that they did that well, just because of the fact that it was still kind of this kick butt action movie that was still kind of over the top, because the game is in a little bit of the way, but at the same time, just enough believability that it wasn't, I don't think it was too obnoxious necessarily. I think she portrayed the character well. Now then, going ahead in time here with the newer, exactly, Ron. Angelina Jolie was an incredible Tomb Raider. I think she did a really great personification. Now, fast forwarding, since they're changing the way Tomb Raider looks and the intensity and stuff like that, I think that with the newer movie, now Joshua and I disagree on this strongly. I really enjoyed the newer Tomb Raider movie. The second one with Angelina Jolie sucked. Like come on, that was weird.
It was horrible.
But the newer one, I liked it because there was more believability. Now I know some people really get upset with the fact that they changed the way Lara Croft looked. Was that when it came out?
The 2015.
Has it really been that long ago?
Yeah,
man.
If you call that newer.
That's the one.
That's the one. Gosh, I feel old. I feel like that just came out. I feel like that came out 3 or 4 years ago.
No, it came out a while ago.
I think they want to reboot it again, don't they?
I think they are.
That's what everybody's doing these days. But honestly, for me, I really enjoyed the storyline because I thought it was believable. Because it got a little bit away from the magic of things, but it was still kind of there until the end, and then it just made it more realistic for me. And I list that as one of my top. Like I know they're two different movies, but since it's the same franchise, I thought they were done really well. I would watch them again.
I didn't care much for the newer one, only because of the fact that they hyped it to be like the Tomb Raider reboot video game, and there were some vague elements of it, but it didn't have the same it didn't capture that to me. It didn't capture
I thought
hardly
it
any
did.
of the. It didn't seem to capture hardly any of the Tomb Raider at all to me. It seemed more like it was a half-baked, and I mean this in a literal sense, half-baked Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
As far as
I don't know if I did watch that one.
Indiana Jones, great, but they took elements of Indiana Jones instead of Tomb Raider, and they just kind of whittled it down to like next to nothing, and then slapped Tomb Raider on it and was done.
what would you say that the difference between Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones is, besides it being a dude and a woman, or I
think it's more of like and it's been a while since I've watched that Tomb Raider movie as well, but it was more of the, I don't know, it seems like the magic of the mythology, if you will, that is encapsulated in the Indiana Jones, as far as like it's rooted in a lot of like, most of it is religious history.
right.
Right. Whereas Tomb Raider is more on the mythological side of it all as a whole. But to me, this one didn't have any of it.
It didn't really focus on mythology. It focused more on legends, like
sort of. But again, it didn't. Just the storyline wasn't all that good either.
I really liked it, but that's okay.
I know.
What about you, Joshua? What would you say is one of your top?
It's not. One of my top ones, and I'm not like hardcore. Now I know I've played some of them, and they're fun. They're hokey, and it's more of like not a great adaptation.
You're like circling like a vulture before you get
Okay, all right. So it's Mortal Kombat. All right, it's Mortal Kombat. All right. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and I guess banter back and forth.
Thanks, people. This is why
the reason why I think that Mortal Kombat is like a really good example of a great adaptation is that it pays a lot more homage towards the actual game. Mortal Kombat was never about a great story. It was always about just the action, the blood, the guts, and the insane finishing moves. And that's pretty much what Mortal Kombat is. Mortal Kombat, and that's how it's actually a fairly good video game adaptation, because the storyline, you can just chuck that out the window, just like the video game. It's just all about the moves, the finishing moves, and the blood, and all that stuff. And that's what makes it, to me, a fun. Not the old ones that came out in the 90s. Not that abomination. Not that abomination.
We will get to that because I have that on my list. We will get to
Not that abomination. No, the real Mortal Kombat, the one that they announced the sequel to.
I got that on my other list.
Oh gosh, the 90s one. No. That abomination.
I can't say I know much about Mortal Kombat. I used to watch Joshua play, but and I haven't seen the newer one, although it looked really cool, really intense. But I think that's also the difference between gamers as well, is the fact that some of us are more focused on the storyline, others are focused on the gameplay. So, I like a good storyline. So Mortal Kombat is not exactly for Tabitha. Like, let's just kill each other in magical ways,
It is a bloody movie. I will say that.
Backyard Tortoise says video games make better TV shows than movies, because when
I can see that
an 8 to 80 hour story and tell it in 2 hours, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's very hard to do, and there's a lot of them that are better off as a series. Which I have a question for that, but that's later.
All right, we're gonna get to what makes for a good video game movie, but ShadedBeard, Slim Shady.
He ain't Slim Shady.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, Thick Shady.
I can't rap, but I'll try.
Thick Shady.
If you really want me to, I'll try it out.
So, what would you say?
There was a comment earlier that I wanted to address.
Okay.
Phil TMT said, TMNT, if I can spell properly, made a comment earlier. One has an awesome hat and chest hair. I thought he was talking about me, but he was actually Indiana Jones. Anyways.
So it's more than we ever needed to know about him. Yeah, that beard apparently continues. So
there you go. But I don't have any up here. That's why I wear the hat. I have a receiver. Anyways. So yeah, Josh stole my number one. Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it's not my number one.
It's not your number one. Okay, so
it's not my number one.
It was technically my number 1 and 2, but I was biased on one of those. I did have, because I'm biased, Sonic the Hedgehog on my list.
Ooh, I have not seen that one yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I love that game.
It's a good game.
Yeah, we talked about Power Rangers, being my thing. My number 2 thing is Sonic the Hedgehog, and oddly, it's growing. So it's more than just the game. I actually got action figures that are worth $1,100 behind me that are rare.
Right, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got some things there, but yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 collectively kind of put us in my 1 and 2. But I did have Mortal Kombat. As far as storyline, Tabitha, Mortal Kombat, the one that they made in 2021, does have a little bit of more of a storyline to it. It's not just about tournament and beating each other up and different things of that nature. It gives actually a backstory of why they're fighting.
That's why the 90s version is the best.
Yeah, but it's still kind of a weak, if you will, story. But I think I'm wondering if that, since it was so very well received, that's the reason why they're greenlit a sequel, and so that's they're probably going to build more story behind it. Then I can foresee.
The trailer was pretty awesome
because they did that with John Wick. Because John Wick 1 didn't have much of a plot. It had one, but it was kind of weak. And then 2 and 3 and all that, it started growing. Yeah. So I feel like Mortal Kombat could go in that direction.
For sure.
No, I enjoyed the storyline on that one. We'll get into the bad one, which is the 90s one here in a little bit. But,
spoiler.
But I did have my number 3 as the Resident Evil series. Now, mind you, I haven't played the video games and I haven't seen all the movies because I'm not much of a blood and guts type of person. But being that I watch Mortal Kombat, that's
right. Yeah, I was going to say.
But yeah, Resident Evil from what I've seen, but I have seen people play Resident Evil and I've been able to carry elements of the movie into the game, vice versa, and different things. So that was my number 3 because I think they did a good job with that series as well as movies.
You just went ahead and listed all of yours.
Yeah, just since Josh just confuddled me,
confuddled you.
Yeah, confuddled me. I needed to compensate. So
no, that's all good.
Well, Dan, would you say there's any other movies out there where so from the games that because you said you have played games. So any of the ones that you really enjoyed, did they ever get turned into movies? Did you like them?
I did like, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Hitman.
Yes.
That's
actually well, go ahead. You go ahead. I'll come back to that in a second.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
You could have said it. I don't care.
Steal somebody else's thunder there, sir.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 different ones.
That's true.
Right. There's the
one with Timothy Olyphant,
and then the 2007 Hitman. I enjoyed the 2007 Hitman because
Timothy Olyphant. Okay.
Yeah, I played the game there. I never watched the Agent 47 one. I was, after seeing the first one, you got it, yep. After seeing the first one and, stopped playing video games, it was like, who needs to watch more of it, It's probably close to being the same thing anyways, because, you go around being a hitman, killing people, changing your clothes, killing more people.
Stealing their clothes.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was a fun game, and the movie was good too. I think they executed that movie pretty well. That first one that they made. Like I said, I can't say much about the second movie that they made because I didn't watch it. But the first one they executed well. So I like that movie.
I never played Hitman.
So I had never played. I saw it come out. I never played it.
I played Hitman Absolution.
Okay.
How many did they make?
Hitman,
how many
absolutely
did they make?
Well, there's been a couple of remakes that they did, and now it's kind of like I think Hitman technically 3, if you will, is kind of like an online style.
Okay. Huh.
But it's kind of weird. I mean,
Shows
they
you
came out with they came out with a mobile one for a while that my dad played actually for a while called Hitman Sniper. As you play it on the tablet, and you just be a sniper.
That's right, he did. My dad, the gamer.
I introduced him to that one.
I didn't know the old man was a gamer.
You don't know a hardcore solitaire and Bejeweled player like our dad.
Right, yeah. He's a hardcore mahjong man.
Some Bejeweled? Heck yeah. Oh, yeah, all day long.
Actually, he used to play, for a while, he used to play RTSs, the real-time strategy games like Red Alert or Command and Conquer and stuff like that. I introduced him to that. He played that for a while too.
He still plays Bejeweled to this day. I can hear him sometimes when he's in the office, and you hear ka-ching, ring, ding, ding, when he makes a match. I would have to say I don't know if anybody's going to have this on the list because I have a suspicion that everybody's going to kind of go old school. So I'm actually going to put the Super Mario Brothers movie up there. That I won't say it's like my top favorite, but ones that I think definitely work.
The new one?
The new one. Yeah, not the old one. Not the old
one. Not the old one. I haven't seen the new one yet still.
Right. So the new one. Oh, where you been?
Under a rock, apparently.
I would definitely say that this was really well done. Now, I agree with a lot of other people. The plot is not a thick one. It's definitely, kids. Like they said, it's definitely a video game that basically was put into a movie as far as even the plot is concerned. But it's still, but it's like Joshua said, it's yeah, probably a little bit. I bet you they wanted to kind of see what they could get away with, like how well it would do, because there are talks of a possible Legend of Zelda video movie coming out because of the fact that the Mario movie did so well.
That's
a tall order.
Yeah.
I know some people
and that has to be a long series too. You can't just make it into one movie.
Or can they? Yeah. And I know they're like, are they going to make Link talk? And it's like, he's one of the main characters. It's going to be kind of hard not to have him talk. But, we all kind of got over the fact that Chris Pratt doesn't have Mario with an Italian accent. So it can be done if we're willing to kind of open up. I kind of still wish they had decided to keep that. But after a little while, it didn't really bother me and it worked. So I would say that it worked really well. I think it was definitely a well done video game movie. I would say, like I said, it's not like my favorite movie to watch, but as far as what we're talking about today, I think it definitely hit like all points, except that I don't like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Okay.
I just don't really like Seth Rogen anyway, but
I'm not a big Seth Rogen fan. No. Yeah. Anyways,
Joshua,
yes.
What would be your second? You would say
my second is it's a movie, but it's more kind of it's not.
Here it comes.
I'm sorry. All right, it's kind of a fan film, but not, because it was made by Microsoft itself.
Okay.
All right, so it is supposed to be a lead up to Halo 4, and that was Forward Unto Dawn.
Yes, I did like that. I did like that a lot.
Great, because everybody knows the main character, Master Chief. It did not focus on him. It did have he was featured in it, but it was one of those things that it expounded on the story, because everybody knew the story from the video game, pretty much by heart. So why not go ahead and have another character who comes into play later on in Halo 4?
Absolutely.
And it just had a lot of elements in it that were just absolutely fantastic. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of video game based movies need to do as well, is not just cherry pick certain elements from it and make it, work with a weak story. Kind of thing. So there's they even came out with the Halo series, and I watched it, and it was
I heard it did badly.
It is. It's horrible.
I hardly didn't even remember that they even made it. To be quite honest.
And they're supposed to make a season 2, but It's like, you make a story that's supposed to be based off of the game, and they totally chucked that out the window.
Yeah.
They took everything about the game and just threw it out the window and made their own thing. It's just it doesn't work. The fans were not happy with it at all.
And then they took the helmet off, just like in Mandalorian.
Way too many times. Way too many times. And it's just,
I think they learned their lesson on that one in the Mandalorian, but
don't take the helmet off.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed Forward Unto Dawn. It was really good because it captured a lot of the essence of the Halo series without being directly connected to the main character, which should be in just the video game or books.
Because you were anticipating his arrival, like where's Master Chief, and then they reserved it for the appropriate time, which was very well done. I agree. I liked that one as well. PJ, I like PJs too.
Whatever.
You gave us. I recovered well, didn't I? Professional here. How do you recover from that? You just can't slip that into a conversation.
You know.
But anyway, you listed like all three of yours, didn't you? Like
I went for the.
You just went for the kill. Yeah.
Yeah, but we talked about Mario. I think they did a good job with Mario as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my notable mentions, honorable mentions, whatever.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah, there we go. But I think they did a really good job at taking elements of. So for me, in particular, for a movie, and we'll get into this in a little bit, is it has to give some elements of the game a little bit into, especially like a movie like Mario or Sonic or something like that. That's like more of a cartoon. And I think they did a good job. They incorporated Mario Kart. They did a good job with the voicing, minus Seth Rogen. Just different elements that they did there that, it made you feel like, oh, this came from the game. So,
yeah,
Mario.
Peaches. Yeah, we're all still humming that little
Peaches.
I love you. You can actually
okay.
You guys,
you guys need to go ahead and watch the video of what was it? Rick Astley's "Never Gonna Give You Up" synced up with it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I saw the heading for it, but I didn't click on it.
It's worth the watch. For
it's
sure.
great. It's great.
Love It Ever After says, "Hey everyone, I've only enjoyed 2 games turned into movies: Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim was. I thought Scott Pilgrim was a comic book.
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
She might.
I think Scott Pilgrim was. I think Scott Pilgrim was a comic book turned into a video game, turned into a movie. I think.
Oh, that's kind of a nice little cover all your bases.
Right.
Logical Spock, hello, says it'd be cool if they did a show or movie series based on the Driver games in the PS1 and 2.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I would have to, since PJ used up all his time slot, I'm just going to go ahead and say and throw in here. Prince of Persia definitely made it to my list because even if I didn't know that was a video game, like I just enjoyed it as a movie. But I played a little bit of the games, but I predominantly, again, I watched Joshua play them, and so I'm familiar with the games. I'm very familiar with them. I just not with the experience of actually having played them. And so just from that, it definitely. It had like some a little bit of Pirates of the Caribbean vibe to it. Definitely, I think that was when Disney was entering into kind of like that phase of that style. And I'm not mad at it. I really enjoyed that movie, even though there were quite a few differences from the video game. But this is again kind of like with Tomb Raider, what I was saying before is with Angelina Jolie's characters. Like some of it was like over the top, a little bit mystical, whatever, but just enough of it grounded to be down to earth and enjoyable and believable and all this kind of stuff. And, I'll just throw that in there. So, yeah.
No, that's a great adaptation. And I'm upset that there never was a sequel to it.
This is what Ryan is also saying. Disappointed we didn't get a second one.
They needed to put a second one out there. At least a sequel, at least one sequel. I think.
That or a spinoff of some kind, I guess.
Well, who would you do a spinoff of then?
Some other, poor destitute
It's not fair.
Arabian child wandering the streets looking for an apple.
They're coming out with another video game too, right? So, they're coming out with a new video game for Prince of Persia.
Just create the multiverse in Aladdin.
It looks weird, but
that's it.
Yeah, everybody's going multiverse nowadays.
I hate it so much. Did you already list your 3, Joshua?
I have 2, and then I have an honorable mention, if you will.
Well, just write them all off real speedy.
Write them what?
Like, read them off.
Just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. So the one that I give as an honorable mention would be Ready Player One.
That was a book, though, right?
It was a book. Now the thing that's really interesting about it. So the book is far better than the movie. I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. But the book is actually, or the movie is actually fairly decent as to saying true-ish to the book. The thing is that what it is, you are in a simulated game called the Oasis. All right, and which is kind of like modern day just playing online, but this is like way more in depth. But it has what I really loved about it is that it's got all these pop culture references, all these video game references in it. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, which is funny because in the book, there's a lot of Steven Spielberg movies that are referenced throughout the entire book.
Nice.
And what's also fun about it is seeing all the different characters and nods and all that kind of stuff. So it's trying to find all these different things throughout the movie because they're all over the place. You got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in there. You got Halo in there. You got Mortal Kombat. You got Street Fighter. You have Back to the Future. You have King Kong. I mean, you just start looking at all these different things. You have Iron Giant in it. You have Gundams in it. You have Mecha Godzilla. I mean,
so they really took the time with the details to include.
Oh yeah, and again, I say honorable mention because of the fact that it's not adapted as a video game, but it really shows almost what it's like playing an online game. Yeah. Like playing the World of Warcraft series or the Elder Scrolls Online series and stuff like that. Just how in depth you can get and creative with all these different things in that universe, if you will.
For sure, I think it did. I agree.
Yeah.
Your other, what was it? You said 2. You have like 2 that would have made it to the top or something.
That was my like honorable mention of it. Those were the 2 that I or 2 movies that I recommended. Off the top of my head that I had or that I had watched.
It's okay.
Recently.
It's okay. I know you probably have a whole stack of them there, so we got to continue.
No, I got a stack of one. I have a whole other list of movies that are like horrible.
Well, don't we all? And Shaded already. Did you give us your honorable mention?
I mentioned Mario, but Assassin's Creed was also. But we already talked about Assassin's Creed a little bit.
I actually wasn't. I was actually going to list.
Or maybe we did before the show. Maybe that's when we.
The short movie that they made for that. I really liked that. Is that what you're talking
Lineage,
about?
I think it was called Lineage.
Well, it had the actor who played X-Men, who played Magneto in X-Men.
Yeah, that was the full-length movie.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one is the one I'm talking about. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. I love the games, and for that I really wasn't expecting much, but for what it was worth, I know a lot of people critique it, and I critiqued it a little bit myself. But for the most part, it was a good movie.
I thought it was good. I think that probably was easier games to try to adapt into a movie because there's not a lot of like fantasy. Well, there is and there isn't a lot of fantasy elements to it, so it's a little bit more believable, more realistic.
Yeah.
My thing with it is that, and I'll just throw that to the side because that was part of my kind of like it's dwindling down lesser thing. But what it was is I liked a lot of some of it. It would have done far better if it stayed more in the past sequences rather than the present, because that's what the video game is. That's what the video game is. 99% of the video game takes place in the past. Yeah, and I understand you got to have. I don't understand you got to have real, if you will, real world elements in it and stuff. Yeah. But if it would have just dialed it to where it was maybe 75% of the movie was dealing with, the Spanish assassin character, rather than mostly focusing on, the American actor that's in the real world, if you will, or the present. If it did that, I think it would have been better. I mean, I loved the sequences that took place in 1492 because I watched it last night. Spain. I loved all of that. but everything else was kind of.
You probably stayed up
okay.
until like 2:00. Okay, this one's my favorite. No, that one's not my favorite.
No, I did.
No, but in all reality, I think the
That
reason
one,
the reason why they took that approach with the movie versus the game is because I think they anticipated, one, that there's going to be a lot of people who haven't played the game and are going to be interested in the storyline, so they need to have that backstory of how somebody can incorporate himself into the history. And then two, well, Josh, your kind of threw me off.
Go ahead. Sorry. I do that a lot.
But two, I think they anticipated having a sequel, so they wanted to build the baseline of what this what is it called? Animus? Is that what it's called? I forgot.
The Animus,
the Animus. I think they really wanted to create a backstory for the Animus so that they could leave it later on. That's just my theory, that they could get back into the historical elements, maybe in a sequel or a trilogy or just whatever they planned on doing. So it did seem like they anticipated making more movies out of it, but obviously it didn't do as good.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I know that Netflix is going to be making a series.
Oh, okay. That would be better.
Which I was going to say would be a better thing because Assassin's Creed as a whole is long.
Yeah.
Each game is pretty long.
Most of the video games are like that. I think we can all agree if it was going to be like Legend of Zelda, Assassin's Creed, all these kind of things, because they're such long video games that to do it into a movie format, you really have to change the storyline.
Yeah, you could do like Kirby and Donkey Kong or Fall Guys or whatever like that, and turn them into little
give
movies.
me Crash Bandicoot and I'll be happy. Just give me Crash
Bandicoot movie. It would be fantastic. I agree with Levitt Ever After. It says it can be difficult going from book to movie adaptation depending on the director. It can be a great or a dumpster fire, but also in reverse. She says I really enjoyed the Lego games of Pirates and Star Wars. I was going to say, I don't know if it counts necessarily where it was a movie and then turned into a video.
Hey, you could create a whole new episode about doing
reversing it.
And then Vanquish AZ says I really enjoyed the Need for Speed movie. Crappy story, some really great real car stunts, really impressive stuff they pulled off.
That came out way too late after Fast and Furious. They should have jumped on board with that thing as soon as Fast and Furious got started.
As a contender, absolutely.
Yeah.
We've got the cannolis in the house. Good evening. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. Now, for those that are just hopping on board, we are of course talking about video games that have been turned into movies. The best. We've already kind of talked about some of our favorites and some honorable mentions. But if you haven't already and you're just hanging out, eating popcorn on the couch, and you haven't hit the like button, we're disappointed in you. Look at Dan's face. Just look at it. There we go. Hang on. Let's zoom in on that. The face of pure disappointment. So you better be hitting.
Can I screenshot that? I need to screenshot that.
Shaded Beard's going to be the new R2. So if you see that face and you haven't hit the like button, you need to right now, because we would appreciate that, because well, it's just a vote of positivity. And who doesn't want that? Am I right? Of course, please be sure to check out our guests' description links in the description box at the end of the show. Check out what they do on their channels. But of course, we're also thankful for everybody's support here on Inside the Booth. As you know, that we've been monetized recently. And so it's been fantastic having you all on board for this journey that we've been on. And I know Dan's been here from the beginning. This is his hopes, his dreams.
He's a founder.
He's a founder. He's one of the founders. And then I've been on board for a couple of years now. Actually, back last month, made 2 years that Tabitha joined the Inside the Booth team. Woot. And we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate you. And of course, you can check out the description box, because you might be wondering,
what is this place? What is it that you do here? Merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Woo!
That's great. Woo! And so we just appreciate all of you. Yeah, head over to our store, get you some cool and awesome merch. It looks good on everybody in every color. You can get the 5 categories because, like we said before, we go live every Sunday and Tuesday. We're doing something a little different tonight, but every Sunday and Tuesday, we typically talk about some of our favorite movies, the worst movies, and we go over and do a complete movie review. We list the 5 categories. They are the plot, the acting, the cinematography, of course, and then the music and the allegory. Cinnamon's right. Cinematography, Dan's favorite breakfast, cinematography. And so we appreciate all of you and all of the support that you've get him, Dan. That's what Lovett says. Get him with that face of guilt.
I see Dan's trying to go for the Wolverine beard though.
Yes,
I know. I was getting ready to say, no, he said, what's Wolverine's brother? What's his name? Animal. Is that his name?
Sabretooth?
Sabretooth. There we go. There you go. Yeah, he's got more of a Sabretooth.
Dan has many faces. If you've been following Inside the Booth the last 2 years, at least in my experience, we've gone from, shaved head, long hair, beard, no beard, curly cues in the mustache, and now we've got the Wolverine look going on. So Dan is a man of many faces. You never know what you'll get. Dan likes to keep it fresh, Ryan.
Dan's going to grow a beard overnight or a mustache overnight.
He might grow a reverse one. We just don't even know. Am I excited for the Amazon's Wheel of Time? Heck to the nah, man. Done with that trash. I was done with that trash before it even came out. But speaking of trash.
Can I do a couple of...
I'll leave the room. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Dan.
For good ones.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I'm just saying. No problem.
Absolutely. Hit us with the good stuff.
I like the movie. I never played the game.
Okay.
Uncharted.
Uncharted.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to watch that one.
It was a fun movie.
I've been curious about that one.
Yeah, I think I watched it on Netflix. I don't remember when or where.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a Netflix one that I watched on. Anyways, or it was one of those streaming services. And then this is not really from a video game, but it's from many video games. Have you ever seen the movie Pixels?
No, I haven't.
I haven't.
Yeah, with Adam Sandler. That is a great movie.
Yes.
It's actually one of my son's favorite movies. He watches it all the time. But it takes elements of
He does. If you go to our Patreon page and support us for as little as $1,000 a month, Dan will.
You got the plug in.
Check out our Patreon page. But Dan, you tell us about Pixels.
Lost him.
The show just went off the rails.
Happens a lot. Yeah. Anyways, Pixels. Yeah, good movie. If you like the old '80s arcade games.
Yeah.
You'll like this movie. It's great. Yeah. That's it.
I think once you said Adam Sandler, I was like, that sounds familiar, but I've never.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Kevin Smith. I think was his name. No, not Kevin Smith. What is his name? The dude from King of Queens.
Kevin James.
Thank you. Yeah, Kevin Smith is the guy that does Clerks. I'm sorry.
If you go on my TikTok, I literally in my bio it says I am the Kevin James of TikTok.
Famous.
I love it.
So anyways, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Do I need to turn the lights down? Hey.
We're gonna be talking
him already.
We'll be talking about trash video game movies.
Uh-oh.
There's a lot of those.
This should definitely be interesting. So again, I don't have as much experience as the ShadedBeard and the Maker with video games for sure, but I'm just gonna put this out there as far as I don't really have too many. Yeah, but I'm gonna go on a whim here, and I'm gonna throw out Doom.
Okay.
I watched that recently, and
Recently, huh?
I did actually watch this movie, and well, it was kind of neat, but all the
Kind of cool.
kind of cool.
Okay.
It's something to watch with your gal pals on a Friday night. But
The Rock.
Yay,
Josh,
pillow fight.
who doesn't want to see The Rock Johnson anyways, right?
right, so I didn't really know exactly. I saw The Rock was in it. I'm like, this looks pretty cool.
Carl
right?
Urban.
I was like, oh, this Carl Urban. This is so
Carl.
It's getting late.
And so then later on I discovered it's a game, and so I kind of wonder if there are any Doom fans in our chat. Let me know. Like, I wonder. I can't really say whether or not it was a good video game or how closely based, but something that it wasn't.
No.
Oh,
Really.
Dan, you know. All right, so it's trash. I just kind of figured it.
When it came out actually Doom came out on a computer first. Before
It came out on DOS. Yeah.
Yep. Before.
Put that floppy disk in.
Yep.
Right.
Love
Old school.
Well, so there was one cool element about the movie that I know for sure. I have never played the games, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that there was calling back to the video games, because near the end of it, and spoiler if you haven't seen Doom, I know. So at the end of it, your main person gets somehow superpowers, doesn't do anything differently as a human being, but basically gets like juiced up superpowers. And they basically do it for like the perception of the camera if you were playing the game. And I thought that was really cool. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, this must be what it looks like in the game, which of course is pretty cool. But I just don't know if it's a really good movie, or a good game. It's like an okay movie. So that's why I'm like, it probably didn't do very well personifying the game.
Yeah, they got a new one coming out too.
Do they?
Doing
But
video game?
Dan says it didn't do well.
No. I mean, I didn't really play any of the newer Dooms, but up to some 64 Nintendo 64.
Doom 64.
Yeah, Doom 64. It didn't really. Doom doesn't have much of a storyline. Just go around killing demon dogs. That's
what I kind of figured.
Yeah.
So yeah, the movie was strange, I think. In my opinion, I don't know. It was just weird to me. So
it is, because again, spoiler, but it's like at the end of it, most everybody dies or gets transformed into these alien, beefed up, nasty creatures, zombie creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the main character then gets injected with something, and suddenly he's like amped up. But he doesn't actually do anything differently than what a regular human would do, except that he has accuracy. Like better accuracy.
He becomes Doom Guy.
Because he literally just shoots everything.
That's the character's name is Doom Guy.
Really? That's his name?
Kind of, yeah.
No, original. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
That's what he's known as, Doom Guy.
I figured that probably made for a bad movie. Anyway, Josh, go ahead. Tell us what's
okay. We're supposed to have 3, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Number 1 is Need for Speed. Sorry to the guy that said Need for Speed was great. Need for Speed was a horrible movie. The plot was abysmal. The acting was horrible. And again, it's they should have chomped at the bit way back in the heyday when Fast and Furious came out, because they could have really done some insane stuff if they went back with that. Instead, they waited till probably about like halfway through, or no, it was later than that. It was probably about I think the 6th or 7th Fast and Furious movie by the time they were like, okay, we're going to make a Need for Speed movie. It's like, really? And they're like, no, we're going to go ahead and focus on exotic cars. That's all nice and dandy, but it didn't even give the element of going fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Joshua.
Okay.
That's why the title is called The
Need for Speed. Right. Well, that's the thing. No, it's called Need for Speed, but it should have been called The Need for Speed.
Yeah. There you go.
So there's mine.
Okay. All right.
Shaded Beard.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Anyways, so 3 worst. Absolutely, positively. And I know the comments are going to hate me for this, but the Mortal Kombat movies.
Oh,
The 90s
all
ones,
of them?
yeah.
The 90s.
All
ones.
of them.
Oh, okay.
All
I
of
was
them.
like, wow,
Yeah.
all of it.
All the 90s
all right,
ones.
look what you've done. Look at that. You've brought that face back.
You got to send him money to go ahead and turn that frown upside down.
That's right. That's right.
Become a
Poor
Patreon
Dan.
supporter.
Give us a super chat.
Dan needs a couple of 1s and 5s to wipe the tears away.
I'm
so
telling you, I've watched it, and then I went back and watched it, not here recently, but a couple of
And
years
it
ago.
hurt.
And it was just like, oh my goodness. But I love the games. The games are
Oh, of
great.
course.
The games are great. I was playing that when I was 5, and there was blood in it. But anyway, are we? Am I taking up too much time, or do I go for 2 and 3 as well, Tabitha?
Might as well hit us with your. Be consistent.
Okay. So my next worst is Street Fighter.
Ooh,
honestly,
now
I'm strictly talking about. I'm talking about
the Jean-Claude Van Damme one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Horrible.
One?
There's one that focused on Chun-Li.
Yeah, they made one. They made one in 2009.
It was also bad.
They had good actors in it.
Mm-hmm.
They had some prominent actors in it, but it just didn't take off the way that I'm sure they hoped it would. But I'm mainly talking about the 1994 one. Just horrible. And then the 90s, is it 80s or 90s version of the Mario movie, Super Mario Brothers?
Oh yeah,
that was the 90s. That was 90s.
You didn't like the movie?
That one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah, that one.
It's sad. We grew up with those movies, and that the kids that come up after us to get the really good ones.
Oh yeah.
It's like, man, what happened?
We need to show the kids what our CGI looked like in the 90s, and then compare to what they have now.
Oh, look.
Gosh. Oh no.
Figure. Oh,
he's got John Leguizamo.
Oh my goodness.
The guy who's a wacko right now, huh?
Yeah,
look at this
sure.
guy.
Yeah, he is.
Look at this guy.
There's not enough Latino actors in Super Mario Brothers.
Oh lordy.
Well, duh.
Lordy.
even though the woman that they got to play as Peach is
Italian?
it's from like she's like
Peach.
Hey, I'll stand up for Dan in this movie. You guys don't know, but I was watching some behind the scenes for the first Super Mario movie that we got, and that movie actually transformed CGI for Hollywood. Without that movie, a lot of the stuff that we have today was not have been discovered as soon.
Yeah.
So that movie actually took us forward. So without it, we'd be backward.
Wow, that hurts. That hurts on a different level.
It does. The movie is so underappreciated, but actually, if I'm not mistaken, won awards for the progression of the CGI and everything.
Well, darn.
Shows really you advanced.
Shows you can sometimes get a nugget out of a turd.
Doo-doo on a date. You can spray cologne on it. It's going to be doo-doo on a date.
That was good. Get out of a turd.
Woo! What's in this water right now? I don't even know.
He's the best.
Well, Dan.
Dan, you take it away.
Before Tabitha falls on the floor.
Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Which ones I didn't like?
You don't know where he's at right now. You don't even know.
Yeah, basically, movies that are based off video games that just did not work for us.
Did not work. See, I would say that I would say, but I didn't watch the movie. so I can't say much of it.
Well,
Well, I mean, I talked about Doom, and I've never played the game, so hit us with your best shot, Dan.
All right, let's go Rampage. Was that even a good movie?
Okay. I hadn't seen it.
I'd have to ask the chat. Chat, was Rampage a good movie based off of the game?
Another Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie.
Yeah, Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
But
he promoted it hard.
The game has no storyline. You're just a bunch of monsters.
It's an arcade game,
like
yeah.
Nintendo, This was Nintendo, Atari, and arcade versions. Basically, what you're doing is destroying buildings and trying to destroy it the fastest you can, or something dumb like that. It was just, and you get points, I guess.
Yeah.
And eating, you had to eat people too sometimes.
Oh,
I think that's what it was. So yeah, that one. I don't know what the movie was about because I didn't watch it, but
we know the movie sucked because Dan believes it to be so.
Yes. No, I wasn't
Dan
interested in the movie because the commercials looked dumb. Like, he's got this baby gorilla, and then it turns
I don't know anything about this.
And then it turns into like this big monster, and you're like, huh? What?
It got poisoned by something or other.
That sounds like the plot for the movie that Penny was in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, and
serial apis.
In the trailer, apparently Dwayne is like, "Oh, let me go talk to him. Make sure."
Yeah, in sign language.
Are you okay, Mr. Monkey Man?
Okay, now I remember that you say that. I never saw it because it looks stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I hadn't seen it because it looked dumb too.
I didn't watch it.
I probably should watch it because it's dumb.
We need a Dr. Mario movies with Brett.
But did you know Shigeru Miyamoto came out and said that Dr. Mario is in fact evil?
Well, because he's trying to take you to Big Pharma, of course.
I guess
was
so.
Just a picture of Fauci when he was younger. That's all.
He's another Fauci.
That's Fauci with the mustache.
I can't really say too many more video games. Josh, go ahead and tell us what yours are because
I'm
not always. I haven't seen like Resident Evil
and
all
two
this
more.
kind of stuff. All right,
I has two more. Okay, I has two
only
more.
Two? Only two.
Well, I could probably come up. I could probably come up with more, but we gotta go. But we gotta go to bed at some point. I have Hitman Agent 47.
47.
Oh, you like that movie?
Movies?
Yeah, this is the other one, the later one.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that one wasn't good.
Yeah, that one. Well, I hadn't seen the one that you mentioned, Dan. I only seen that one.
Oh, really? Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I just hadn't seen that one yet. But
that one if you haven't seen the first one.
Right.
Because it wasn't available on like any streaming sites that I was subscribed to, or I couldn't find it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Those are my excuses. Hitman Agent 47. It was just boring, and I could easily fall asleep to it. The plot was very forgettable. I don't really remember anything about the plot other than the fact that he tried to save a girl that was supposed to be just like him, kind of thing, but she didn't know it.
My hero.
And then all the way at the end, spoiler alert, which doesn't really matter, you see a clone of him, Agent 48, and then him and the girl try to kill Agent 48, and then it cuts to black. It was like, whatever.
Because they were waiting for Hitman 48.
It's never going to come out because that one just flopped. And that one had Rupert Friend played as Agent 47, which, I mean, he had the mannerisms and stuff like that of Agent 47 that were pretty good, but he didn't necessarily look like him because he wasn't completely bald. He had fuzz on top of his head, which is a little weird.
That's
He had
gross.
fuzz. He had fuzz.
No offense, ShadedBeard.
Do what?
She said, "No offense to the fuzz on your head."
Oh, yeah. Whatever fuzz is there. Yeah.
And so
More like
I guess
receding hairline.
I guess to end out my duds for the evening would be Warcraft.
this one kind of has me divided, kind of. Yeah.
Did y'all see that? I haven't seen it yet.
We have.
I have it on Blu-ray, so.
Josh just collects DVDs and doesn't watch them.
Oh, I know that Josh likes his hard copies. Trust me. I'm very privy to that. I didn't.
Oh, I'm very much into hard copies. But no, yeah, I watched it, and I watched it the other night, and it's like, no, again, I was blown away by the visuals. The visuals were fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, the graphics to me were probably the best since probably the original Lord of the Rings trilogy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, that's how impressive the graphics were to me. Yes. But the plot was very, very bad. I know they set it up for a sequel, and it's never going to get made because it was bad. That's what it was. This movie was originally going to be made by that one guy, Uwe Boll, who made the In the Name of the King and Blood Rain movies, and he's just notorious for doing like B quality movies or even C quality movies.
King, that movie was stupid.
Was it? I never saw it.
You've never seen it? I haven't.
You haven't.
Have a watch along. Go ahead.
It's actually a video game. It's actually a video game.
No,
it is a video game. Yes, it is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a video game. It came out. I think if I remember right, it came out on the OG Xbox.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with a darn massive Duke controller. But anyway, it was the actors were they got some really good actors to play in the movie.
It had a lot of potential.
They had a lot of potential, and they hyped the movie up big time, and it just flopped hard. It did so bad because the plot was non-existent. And I did like the idea of seeing, the two sides of the factions as far as like, a little bit of backstory on both of them, but it didn't do well bringing it together.
Yeah.
So that's my gripe on Warcraft.
We have a comment for Josh where we got some smack talk in the comment section for you. It says, Josh, you kind of look like my older brother. Says Logical Spock.
Do I happen to have pointy ears as well as Logical Spock does?
I'm trying to tell you look ugly.
Oh, is that
I don't know.
Spock looks kind of ugly with a goatee too, but
I didn't know Spock had an older brother.
Yeah, his name was Spock.
Kind of like wink and blink and a nod,
Right, yeah.
Spock and Splat, you don't really hear much about Splat for a reason.
Right, yeah. He kind of didn't make it.
Kind of didn't make it. At least Warcraft has something in common with the last Airbender movie. It was so bad that the sequel was set up shall never come. I like
it's just weird because I actually liked the last Airbender. It was weird. I did like it.
Cartoon.
I was gonna say I never saw the cartoon, but I did like the movie.
Yeah. So
it's weird.
There's
weird. It's kind of funny. That should be a series right there. Movies that are being rebooted because they're horrible. If you will, poor Speck.
Poor Speck.
Spock's fucking Speck. Oh my gosh. Well, all right. So.
Hey, I got something.
Yeah.
It's not a movie. It is a TV show. You guys remember? The Mario Brothers TV show with the Italian guy?
Stop.
Yeah, with that big weird snake thing that came out of the pipe.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was horrible.
And then they show a cartoon after they showed them.
Yep.
Where's the Mario?
Yeah, and Mario was like super fat and everything.
I don't know this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was like an after-school special type thing.
Did it teach you not to eat the mushrooms?
No, I think they encouraged you so that way you can enjoy the show. They wanted you to eat the mushrooms so you could actually watch the show.
What I didn't understand was, I know we're off topic right now, but what I didn't understand was, why would somebody knock on the door? They open like a sink medicine cabinet, and then the person was on the other side.
It's been a while since I watched it.
I didn't
They
get that. I
ate
was like,
mushrooms. They
What?
ate
Yeah, I know, right? They ate the mushrooms.
why are
They
they
were
on the other side of
hallucinating.
the
All right, I got a question for you guys.
Oh.
What video game would you love to see as a movie or series?
Ooh.
Done
Dragon Age.
absolutely perfect.
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. As a series or movie?
As a series.
Or a series of movies.
A series of movies or a series. I'm all about it. It's okay.
I would love a Mass Effect.
I was okay,
series.
so I was gonna say Mass Effect, but I was like, I'm going with Dragon Age.
What's that game? All right,
Which
there's
one?
a game that I used to play all the time.
Tetris?
Gosh, I can't
Awesome,
remember.
wicked plot right there.
Yes.
If you build
They came out with a movie on the history of Tetris.
that doesn't count. Documentaries
Oh,
don't
did
count
they?
as movies.
I would.
No, it's not really a documentary. It's kind of like watching the movie about Steve Jobs and stuff like that.
Well, what
You
about
know, with
this?
Ashton Kutcher and such.
I want a bully
I want
teeth.
to bully teeth.
It's called
Oh
life.
my goodness.
No, there was a video game called Bully.
I know that. That's why I'm laughing.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like being facetious.
I
Okay.
remember reading some of the magazines you had stacked up from the video game magazines. All right.
Okay, what was yours?
I will try to explain the game.
Oh, here we go.
I can't remember the name of it. It's
Well, we
I
can't have
think
nice
it starts
things.
with a T. But it's like you can play 4-player on it, and it was like a first-person shooter game, but you're like an Indian, and
Turok.
Turok, yes.
Turok.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
What
That
the
would
frig
be a
is
cool-
Turok?
That would
Turok.
be a
So
cool
it's like a
And
science
it travels
fiction
back and forth.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you play it's like a Native American-y kind of guy or whatever, but there are guns and bows and arrows and spears and dinosaurs and stuff like that, man. It's kind of a crazy game, kind of like a Doom game, but not.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
that would be a cool
Okay,
movie.
I'm
That's
looking at it.
interesting. Okay, yeah.
I've never heard
That's
of it,
interesting.
I think.
What about you, PJ?
My first go-to is always going to be Skyrim. You got.
I was gonna say Elder Scrolls would have been my second one.
But then again, knowing me, I'm going to be sitting there in the theater going, "Nope, that ain't right.
Yeah.
Right.
That ain't
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That didn't
This
happen."
is like the only guy that's like probably read all of the Lusty Argonian.
I tell you,
Probably.
we
I've read the history of cheese, okay? in the game, I want to add.
Right. Yes.
no,
the
but,
Yes. IRCs.
I was waiting for Amber to do a mission, and she wasn't there in time, so I'm like, I'll just read a book. Here's the history of cheese. And actually, it was pretty interesting.
yeah, I mean, they would just have to do it right. But
No, they would. They would literally have to have Bethesda involved in hardcore.
Yeah. You
Oh,
would
a
have to-
Destiny game, says Brett Yeamans.
Ooh.
Destiny would be good.
That'd be
Yep.
interesting. Yeah.
Destiny would be good.
I know they're doing a Fallout series on Amazon.
Okay.
No.
I would not want to watch a BioShock movie, that's for sure.
Oof.
Ooh, they were in talks about making that into a movie.
No, thank you. No, thank you. What do you guys
I think
think?
it would be interesting.
What do you guys I guess finishing up? What do you guys think is the reason that some video game movies just don't do well? What is it that would make it? What it takes to make it a decent movie?
Well, I wrote down some things down. I think you have to balance it. You have to balance staying true to the original game or games or whatever it is, but also, yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking some creative freedom and developing kind of a storyline behind a certain character, especially when you have something like a Mario or a Sonic. There's a little bit of a storyline in those games, but it's not enough to tell a movie. So you kind of have to have some creative freedom. So, I wrote down, characters staying original to the game while making creative freedom, stay close to the themes of the original story as possible. Incorporation of the game elements in a natural way. So don't force a game element. Like, for instance, I like what they did with Mario Kart in the new Mario movie. They gave kind of a natural element of why they were in in go-karts and going through Rainbow Road, you know, that sort of thing. So I think they did a good job with that. And there's nothing wrong with Easter eggs and nods back to the game. Maybe the people who are hardcore gamers throw some different things in there. And again, you know, your Marios, your Sonics, even a little bit of Assassin's Creed did that. You know, some other movies we could talk, Mortal Kombat. So that's kind of what I wrote down. So. Not that anybody cares.
Well, I guess
I
polish a turd, it's still a turd.
I guess I'll go. So I again go back to like I again go back to like this one right here, where it's, you know, sticking to the source material as far as like the already established lore and mythology that's been established for the games, and you can go ahead and then make your own story as long as it holds to those elements that are relatable towards the game. If you deviate too far off of it, it won't feel right, if you will, because the video games, you're playing as the character, you're feeling everything from it. And if you happen to go ahead and make a movie that doesn't have any of that same feeling, if you will, even though you're not able to play as the character, because it's kind of hard to do that for a movie, but if you can capture some of the elements of the feeling you got from playing the game into the movie, that's what works.
Absolutely.
You know, and like I said, you know, this one, again, it was its own story that did feature him, but it wasn't his focus. But everything about it stayed true to everything that was already established in the video games and the books.
True. Do you agree, Dan? What say you?
Yes, I agree with it. I think I'm going to go reverse on you.
Oh, he's going reverse.
Uno
A
reverse. Hit him
great
with the
game
drop
from a
forward.
movie would be Soylent Green. Oh yeah.
Do you think that would make a good video game?
It would. It would be an awesome video game.
Oh, Lordy.
You gotta tell him Soylent Green is people!
So we gotta know though, Dan, would you play as the person trying to tell people that Soylent Green is people, or would you be the one that was behind the scenes making people into Soylent Green?
Ooh,
maybe you could choose either one.
I was gonna say you could actually play as both at the same time, because there has been video games where you play as both the villain and the hero at the same time.
There you go.
There you go.
Red Dead
And whatever
Redemption.
your life choices are depends your evil or goodness meter. It's like, do we turn
Yep,
Joe
there you go.
into, you know, a bag of donuts today, or do we
Hello.
keep it alive?
Bag of donuts.
Hello, boy.
Oh, that was a nice little throwback to Papa's sayings.
I know. Susie, coffee maker, and Joe, bag of donuts. Bless their hearts.
So
yeah,
what was your thing that you think that would make it a good adaptation of a video game?
Who, me?
Yes.
Me?
Dreaming Tabitha.
I'm. It's me.
Give us the goods, Tabitha. Give us the goods.
All right, let's sit up. It all comes down. It all comes down to, obviously, by our conversation, guys. Let's bring it in. It all comes down to, don't have The Rock in your movie. If it's based
He is in everything.
If it's based off of a video game. Just seems to be the general consensus.
Now
here.
John Cena's in almost everything, just the same way that
He
The Rock
is now. Yeah, he's starting to.
I don't really.
I'm surprised
know.
The Rock hasn't showed up in the Expendables movies yet.
Not yet.
I wanted him to.
He's not old enough, apparently, or he's not female enough. We're not really sure.
Oh,
He
right.
doesn't
Yeah, we're
have
not sure which one.
He doesn't have the Sylvester Stallone accent.
You mean where he can't talk? It's just I think like a lot of what you guys were saying, like that there has to be an element of realism along with the creative liberties, because video games are not real life, and the ones that are close to real life are not going to be fun to watch on the screen, because there's nothing that's necessarily whimsical about it. There has to be an element of out of the box kind of craziness to it. But at the same time, of course, we know that plot and acting is very important for people. But I think it the gimmicks of the game, you know. So it's kind of like with Prince of Persia, you know, we think about Destan didn't jump all over the place from every building. He ran out of steam a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that is where, you know, but it had the cool elements where he was doing, you know, parkour,
Right, the wall runs and stuff. Yeah.
and the wall runs and stuff like that. Parkour. But at the same time, you know, he did get winded or whatever, and then of course you got your elements of humor and stuff like that. So they still made him like a real man, but he was extra cool because he did these things. It's not like, at the same time, let's be real, with the way that India is producing movies, if they would create a Prince of Persia movie, I think we could all agree that we would just hands down watch it. So
Probably
with those,
yeah.
those
Absolutely.
movies, absolutely. So I would love to see an Indian version of Prince of Persia. Like, who do we need to contact to make that happen?
No. We need a Star Wars, an Indian Star Wars.
Oh my goodness.
We need every
crazy.
great movie ever made, every franchise, Star Wars, Star Trek. We need to make Indiana Jones. We need Indian editions of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. All of it.
So it'd be Indian Jones.
Episode idea for you guys: do the movies that have already been adapted by the Indian culture that are like based off of like Spider-Man and, you know, Superman and different things of that nature. you could do a 2-hour show just like that.
Yeah, but those are old. We like the newer Indian stuff.
No, come on, they're still classic. Every once in a while you'll scroll through TikTok or YouTube and you'll be like, you just sit there for like 13 minutes watching this scene from some Spider-Man from India, and you're just like,
there was a Chinese or Japanese one known as Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Which is Spider-Man, but I think it was in China or Japan. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, Japan actually did a lot of adaptations that some can debate that we adapted, they adapted, whatever. But nonetheless, they had their own version of Spider-Man, and
it was a little weird.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Fun too. Yeah,
I want to see it in Super Mario Brothers. That's what I want to see. That's what I do.
Yes.
Not Italian anymore.
No,
we're not in Kansas anymore.
I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Those dance numbers, you know, would just be on fire.
It would be amazing.
Well, okay, so we had a lot to say about
a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
A lot of highs, a lot of lows, a lot of in-betweens because we don't knows. And the chat,
some
you
very
guys were awesome.
Mixed reviews on Mortal Kombat 90s edition.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Hopefully, we're all still friends.
I'll fight you to the death. Get over here.
Casually pulls out his spine. You know, it's no big deal.
Right? Yeah, casually. Casually.
But yeah, well, thank you everybody for jumping along. Dan, we got anything else we need to say tonight?
No, besides vanquish that like button, ding the bell, and share.
Ding,
share. Ding,
tell your friends about us.
Tabitha, I'm going to correct your description a little bit. My primary TikTok is not at Guardians of the Podcast, even though people can go on there. We are starting a podcast at the end of the summer, Guardians of the Podcast. I'm just making a cheap plug. But my actual handle on TikTok is at ShadedBeard. So the description is wrong. Tabitha got it wrong. Tabitha's wrong.
Dan did it.
Dan's wrong. Dan the law is wrong. Whoever. No, I'm just kidding.
I am always right.
I'm just kidding with you guys. No. Go follow. But
I am the law.
We'll get that.
The law.
All right, thanks so much for hanging out with us on this very different, very interesting episode tonight about video games turned movies.
Sometimes.
The in-betweens. What do we think? Be sure, of course, again, to hit the like button, follow our guests and the links down below to find their description. Their links. Except for the Shaded Beard. We don't like him as much as we thought we would. But thanks for being here. And
I'm just a turd. I put on cologne. I'm just a turban today. That's okay. We're all good.
Here. But give him some follows on the channel that he's getting started. We all know what it was like to get started on YouTube, so it's nice to have some support and everything like that. And of course, you can check out the description box for ways to support our channel here on Inside the Booth. Don't forget, live every Sunday and Tuesday night at 9 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, yeah. Talking about movies, and more films. So you don't want to... It kind of hurts the ears, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, until next time, guys, we see ya. We like ya. We want some more of ya. Check you later.